we don't necessarily see our worst in the same way that they see our worst.
Welcome.
Back, man.
We back.
I'm back, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you see how we left you?
y'all just put me out there too, dog. I ain't appreciate none of the shit that y'all said, but we talk about it later off.
Sorry
off
about
air.
it. Like we said, man, life happens. Uppercase L. We got a guest.
Yes, we do, man.
Our brother,
The homie.
Bobby Rox.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
What's up, fellas?
Glad you could join us, man.
Happy to have you, man.
Hey, man, I'm a fan of the show.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
What you think about it?
The show, hey, look, man, it's one of the cleanest and the coolest and sharpest shows, on the market to me right now. I mean, just the content, how you all unpack things and then come up with solutions too.
Yeah,
people like to talk. You know what I mean? People just talk about stuff, and I'm like, where's the solution?
That's clean.
So
Yeah.
that really draws me in, man. So kudos to y'all smart brothers.
Appreciate it, man. And when we ain't got the answers, we clear as a motherfucker on that too.
Yeah.
We'll be like, nah,
I don't know.
we good.
I don't know.
Talk for 2.5 hours. I still don't know. But there is something that we do know,
Yeah.
which kind of leads me into kind of like highlighting why you're here and just, if you give me an opportunity to kind of paint the backstory picture on just some stuff. So as men, man, we got to wear a lot of hats. We got to do a lot of shit. And a lot of that stuff that we wear and do is behind the scenes. It's not for public consumption in most cases. And it's really the hardest shit that we be putting up with and dealing with and overcoming that very few people see.
Yep.
And as a man, we're in these spaces where we get to hear how other men are managing their life, their challenges, their responsibilities, and all of that. Mm-hmm. And
a lot of times we don't get the same story, like we don't get the same platform to tell the stories that we have, like other people do. So us having those conversations off behind the scenes are really the only way we express to each other what's happening. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And so Tune the Fork exists so that we can create new patterns, new ideas, new ideals, present and introduce people to things that have always been taking place, but hasn't necessarily had the visibility or the space to. And a lot of stuff I think for us as men is just having the space to even feel like we can be supported and listened to and not judged and all of this kind of shit. And
to be able to like understand that our stories are common. I don't think it's nothing that we've said on here that ain't nobody that can't other people relate to or understand.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people who are fathers, man.
Yep.
You're a father. I'm a godfather, and you are an actual father. And some of the back end stories that we're talking about are the challenges associated with showing up for our kids, man, and some of the struggles associated with managing the relationships with the moms and just, how do we be better and how do we support these babies, man, so that they can have the best opportunity in life.
Yep.
And a few weeks ago, I saw a video that you posted about what you've been going through with your son. And it broke us, bro.
Dog, I was looking at it, my eyes, I was in tears, dog. Literally, not no figurative, not, overstating it, dog. I was like completely, and we talked right after, man. I was like, I mean, it moved me in a wild way.
So we want to create a space today just to talk about some of the, not to lay blame on, you know, we're family, right? Meaning black men, black women, combined with children, create a family, create a union. So it's not necessarily about assigning blame, because I think, you know, as men, we got to take responsibility for a lot of shit that's even outside of what our control is if we're going to plot a path forward, right? But I just wanted to create a space, man, to just talk about our shit, our struggles, and maybe we could even start with, you know, kind of where you are with things. You know, you don't necessarily have to go into names, or if you don't want to, or whatever the case may be, but just tell us a little bit about what happened a few weeks ago.
And also understanding, dog, that this is, I mean, all of these situations are all layered, and it's levels and it's layers on top of layers, and it's nuance and all that. With all of that understanding, you know, as you talk through it or as we discuss it, understanding that none of this, like you said, we ain't trying to get into the blame game and all that, because we understand that it's all mixed together, and you know. So we definitely want to tell our stories, because a lot of dudes have these same stories, and they can't, you know, the characters and the situations might be different, but they all are the same story. So we want to definitely get into and start sharing these stories more, man.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I decided to show it. You know, I mean, I have a lot of footage. This has been going on for it's 3.5 years.
Wow.
You know? So what you have saw me do over the years is kind of shield her from what I know people were going to say, essentially, when this came out. I could have released stuff 2 years ago, but I'm like, you know what? Let me give her some time. You know, no man shouldn't have to go through what I went through. You know, a lot of men end up dealing with a lot, enduring a lot. That's why we check out early. We're dealing with too much as a result of somebody else's trauma.
Yep. And that's why we struggle. Even we don't deal with our trauma, because we're dealing with we shouldering a lot.
Yeah. So for me, I came to the conclusion and decision, and I was like, you know, if I don't talk about this, if I don't show this, then, you know, I'm essentially trying to give her some time to get herself together, but it's now affecting my son. So who am I going to try to save?
So you have a son, 9-year-old son. You're a great father, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Understanding. Great don't mean perfect, but it does at the same goddamn time.
Yeah.
And so we're doing a lot. What is the current situation with what's going on with your son?
So what's happening is, I mean, in the video, you know, for everyone who saw the video, y'all saw the video, what you're essentially seeing is the makings of how people orchestrate things using the court system. So to be clear, it's very easy for someone to just make up a quick lie, go to court, get the paperwork, and next thing you know, the dad doesn't see their daughter or their son. A week, 2 weeks. I mean, it's, you know, as a result of this video, you got people talking about they ain't seen their kids in 2 years. 2 years, you know, 6 months, 7 months. And what you saw in the video is just a reoccurrence of things that we essentially go to court and get handled, but we have to keep going through this. So what you see me saying in the video is, why do you keep doing this? You know, why are you creating this situation? Why are you creating a false narrative? And then you're including our child right in it. You know, it's hard to catch people on camera. It's hard. So people got these stories, but it's not caught on camera.
Yeah.
And we got it all caught on camera. You can clearly see, everything you need to see. So it's unfortunate that I went through that, and it's more importantly unfortunate that our son, had to deal with that. But sometimes, you have these things that happen and beautiful things come out of it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of amazing things are going to come out of this video. My son is, we've had conversation. I've got him. We're back together. But at the end of the day, we need to have a deeper conversation on why does this keep happening? And why does the judicial system allow these things to happen? There are better ways, and it's other things that can be done, but they just don't want to do it. And, so I'm here to have that conversation. And I knew that showing the video was going to spark a whole nother conversation. And here we are.
So when we having these relationships, we most of this stuff is happening, to your point, behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about what you did, is because I know multiple people who are struggling, bro.
Yep.
Who would never do that. Not to say that they're wrong for not doing it, but they've created a story around why that should stay on the back and not be made aware or made to the public. But I think there's benefit to us highlighting some of these things just as men, because sometimes, man, when we create in these space, we ain't really, I don't know if we necessarily try to solve a problem as much as it is just to talk about it and to give it light. And then for some reason, that's like disinfectant, and it seems to offer clarity in certain situations. It seems to inspire and encourage other people to do the same, because there's something about just putting light on shit that just seems to make it right.
It's a saying, I gotta make sure I got it right, but it's called it says a well-defined problem is half solved. A well-defined problem is already half solved because it's right out there. And, I think we're in a culture where, we kind of sweep things under the rug. Yeah. And so that means that we're kind of taken away from the solution. Yeah. The solution is almost like right there because it's that defined. Yeah. It's that prevalent. So, there's a duty for us to fix it. And, sometimes they say we shouldn't fix things. We try to fix things too much. Yeah. But a lot of things do need to be fixed. We're not going to sit there and let the leaky faucet just keep running. Right. We got to fix it. You can get that water bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like that analogy.
Right. And there's a lot of times, man, it's these kinds of things are painted with a very broad brush that it's almost like because of perception, like popular perception about these, then, it's all the same. So, whether it's the court system or the law enforcement or whatever the case is really painted, this is the situation. So now as they intervene or as they sort of deal with the situation, as we deal with the situation, we deal with it with that broad brush. And we don't really look at the, like I said, the layers and the levels and all the things that are, all the interactions that have happened to get us to this point. Like you said, you've been dealing with it for years. This is not anything that just happened just now. You know what I'm saying? You've been, and probably something similar before that. So I think a lot of it gets lost in us trying to make it all kind of, this is the solution, right? Or this is what we should do, and not look at these nuance and these situations as individual things. And it's relationships, man. You're dealing with relationships and how people feel and what they've been through and how all that mixes with what you feel and what you've been through, and all of that powder keg mixed together, man, and it ends up being some shit.
Yeah. I mean, we have a bunch of, men are unfortunately tagged with stereotypes. And one of the biggest things that I found for husbands and fathers and men in general is that we're not good communicators. And, me being a person in communication, I'm like, shit. What the hell are y'all talking about, man? I'm in communication, so you're not gonna put that on me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know how to talk.
Right.
That's what I do for a living. And what I found just by, because to be a good communicator, you have to also be a good listener. When I do interviews, I gotta listen to people. I gotta do research and study people to understand what am I gonna say to them. I have to get background on these people, when I talk to them. And, just observing a lot of men, you brothers, you know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of men are great communicators. And what I tell people now is that, and I say this, and I gotta, I'm not treading shit. A lot of women are not good listeners. And it gets put on us. He does not know how to communicate. But he does. You're not listening to what he's saying, or you're speaking two different languages and you need a translator.
Right.
And sometimes in relationships, you feel the same thing, you're saying the same thing, you want the same thing, but somebody's speaking two different languages, so you need somebody to step in and say, okay, this is what she's saying, this is what he's saying. But if you just put the onus on the man to say that, you all are not great communicators. No, some men are very great communicators. I think people hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's how you get miscommunication, and people are not able to balance their relationship out because one person is not hearing the other person.
Right.
And then you add to that insecurities.
Yep.
That's going to automatically project some shit that has nothing to do with what the person was saying.
Right.
And then you can go down a path for so long to where you actually lose sight of how of what the initial objective was of it. And that's kind of where I felt like you were in the video to a degree. I felt like you were at your wit's end, and like there was just a fuck it, I'm done, I ain't taking this shit no more. And you were just ready to suffer the consequences of whatever was going to happen because you were done with trying to communicate or being misunderstood or not listened to or whatever the case may be. And those are the instances I feel that get the most visibility when it comes to men and when we communicate, when we're at the wit's end, when we're done fucking going back and forth and trying to say some shit 72,000 times in 2 million different dialects, and you still don't get what I'm saying. And now that I'm blowing up out of frustration, valid frustration or whatever, I'm in a position that I feel like my back is against the wall.
Right.
Don't nobody see all of the other shit that led to this moment.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's why I was really vocal. I was narrating it in the video because it started out with, she sent an email saying, do you want to get our son today? And I said, of course, you're court ordered to drop him off. So of course I want to get him. So she was going there to drop him off, knowing that she had also called the sheriffs to meet her there.
To file a protective order against you.
Yes.
So
she met us there knowing that Mason was going to be ambushed by officers.
But so was the protective order before? Like, did she do it in a moment that she met you, or did she do it before, then sent you the email?
She did it before.
And then sent an email?
Yes. So
then called the sheriff saying that you'll be there and you'll be breaking the protective order by you showing up to get him.
Yes.
Even though she called to say to get
right.
Okay.
So what was the protective order for?
So basically with a protective order, anybody can get one. So if you decide to say your neighbor slapped you upside your head you can go down to DC Superior Court and get a protective order.
What did she say you did that warranted her getting a protective order?
She's saying that, I'm trying to ask her for us to be back together.
Oh, you basically harassing her to get back
Yeah,
together.
so the thing is that we've been to court. She filed 7 of these. So we know the routine.
She filed what?
7 of them.
Oh, protective orders. Okay.
Yeah. So what
Same
happened?
reason?
Same reason, or she'll add on something. She'll make up anything.
Okay.
I saw him at a concert, and this is a concert that I'm actually performing at. And she's going to the concert that I'm at.
Yeah.
Clearly, everybody knows
Your name on the flyer.
And she's there. So she's actually orchestrating things. This is why I'm saying that this being caught on camera is epic, because this happens all the time. People are making up whoppers, and some people don't want to believe that people are willing to lie like that. But this is happening across the nation, and fathers are losing custody, not seeing their children as a result of somebody just lying, and the judges are not doing any research. At a stroke of a pen, they just change custody just like that. Everybody knows, they call it a silver bullet. If you're going through a custody issue and you are not wanting the other party to have custody, file a protective order.
It's like just what you do in the beginning just to set it up.
Yeah.
That's some lawyer shit that a lawyer would tell
So
you. to do.
people do it all the time. They do it all the time. And it's hurting the Black community exponentially. It's happening to other races, but it's hitting our community big time. Most Black fathers are non-custodial parents.
Yeah.
Most Black fathers are non-custodial parents.
Yeah.
So you're already at a disadvantage right there. You're a non-custodial parent, meaning that you don't reside with your child. So do you have an influence on your child if you don't reside with him or her? Yes, you do, but not to the magnitude of whoever he or she is in a house with.
Now, is non-custodial, if you have joint custody, is that still considered non-custodial? Non-custodial?
Custody and
Custody, physical, you got physical and you got legal.
right.
So,
So
generally,
custody and custodial are two different things. They're separate.
What's
So
your
you can-
boys considered?
Well, we have an agreement that it's joint down the line, but it
Are you considered
This is layer.
custodial or non-custodial?
custodial.
You're considered custodial.
Yeah.
I'm fucking that word up.
Yeah.
You're considered custodial.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can be non-custodial and still have joint
legal.
legal custody. That means that custodial means, and it probably varies from state to state, but it means that you get to say, okay, doctors, where we live to a degree, and those kinds of decisions that you make for your child, right? That's custodial. Custody means that you either joint, that means you can do 7 days, 5 days
That's
on, 5
time
days
shit.
off. That's time, right? Custodial is making decisions for the baby.
It's legal and physical, basically.
Right.
So what you're saying with the doctor's decisions, that's legal. Physical is where does the child reside?
Right.
So if your child live with you most of the time, then you have physical custody.
Right.
And you are non-custodial.
I don't have any custody. 0.
That's crazy.
No legal, nothing. As a result of her creating these false narratives, going to court and saying all of these things. But then when you unpack her case, she has an identical case with her previous husband. And she did the same thing. And he lost custody, bloody battle, and he fought, and he fought, and he fought. 2017, she lost custody.
So let me ask you this, Doc. And again, this is a story that's, I promise you, this is a story that's common. But let me say this. Well, I'm not gonna say that. When, like, looking back, well, let me start here. What was your emotional state when you pulled up and you saw what the situation was? Did you know immediately? Did you have to, like, process it a little bit? And what, because it seems like when you started recording, it was already escalated, right? But I just want to know, like, where was your feeling? Where were your emotions in that time?
When I pulled up, I was, she's pulled a lot of shenanigans before. Like, we've literally had to go to court for things like this before.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, I'm frustrated with the court system because she has a long history of doing this. And I've won all the cases, all of them. So it's like, okay, at some point, do you look at her and say, well, she has a pattern and she has a history. But, you know, I'm never going to stop picking up my son. You know, so when she called me, and she's been acting really strange over the past couple of months, you know, not following the order, not dropping them off, you know, all sorts of things that is just peculiar that she's been doing. So, but at the end of the day, that's her court order day. She's court ordered to drop him off. So she sends me an email, hey, do you want to get him? I was like, of course, you know. So I go up, and of course, you know, she's been doing a whole lot of different things. So I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. But again, school is out because normally I go get him from the school, so I don't have to deal with her at all. And it seems like she likes to, you know, she prefers that we meet with each other. You would think that when somebody doesn't want anything to do with anybody, you're like, cool, go pick them up from the school so I don't have to see you. But for some reason, she wants to see me. So, you know, I'm like, fine, I'll have to get him on this day out of school. And I pull up, she's in the parking lot, she drops our son off. Son gets out of the car. I'm like, cool, you know, we're walking away. And then next thing you know, it's like this dude coming around the corner like the Dukes of Hazzard in the parking lot. This is in the parking lot.
The sheriff.
Yeah. Okay. You know, so almost hit us. It was crazy. It was like something out of a movie, man. So I'm sitting there like, okay, here come the sheriffs. They're pulling straight to it, like coming towards us. And I'm like, what is going on? Jumping out the car? Like you would think it's a drug bust. And it's like, so I'm, in my mind, I'm like, what is going on here? And why are they coming towards us? And it took me a second to realize, you know what? She called them here. And she dropped him off, and then I'm like trying to figure out what the sheriffs want. So I'm thinking that, you know, hey, well, maybe they need to give me some papers or whatever, and we're gonna go about our day. And that's when you hear them doing all the other stuff. And I'm sitting there like, well, in my mind, why in the hell would she do that to our kid? You know what I mean?
What were they saying to you? What were they saying?
They was trying to serve me papers. And they were saying that you can't take your son. So I'm like, well, why the hell would she drop him off if I can't actually take him? You know what I mean? So in my mind now, I'm like, you purposely dropped him off to have him picked up by sheriffs. Who the hell does that? You know, like that's our child. That's a 9-year-old boy. You orchestrated this to have him dropped off only to be picked up 3 minutes later. Dude, there's so many different ways you can serve somebody, and you don't have to do it that way. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? This is the silliest thing ever. And now I'm in protect mode because of my son, because he's been traumatized with several things that she's done. So now I'm upset with the sheriff. So I'm like, you know, did you all know that he was going to be here? Did she tell you these things? And I'm like, this is just getting way out of hand. Because again, this is my court order day too. So I'm supposed to have him, not like, you know, I done took him from her or something like that. She dropped him off. And in my mind, I'm like, she has committed probably the ultimate act of foolery today. And I'm gonna pull my camera out and I'm gonna videotape it. Because this has been going on, and I have court testimony. I have emails, I have text messages, but we don't have this on video. So I started, you know, videotaping, and as you all can see, you know, she's literally in the video. She dropped him off, and then she tried to pull up like she wasn't there at all, and she was coming to get him, like, you know, like she found him at the location, and she was looking for our son because I had him. So what I found out is that she told him that I've had him for 3 months. That's why she dropped him off, because she wanted to look like I had him for months. And what y'all are seeing is that this is not uncommon. People are orchestrating hits on fathers all day long. When women, certain women, when they're done with you, they will do things like this to you, and they get away with it all the time. But brothers don't have the platform to be able to talk about it or show it. And it's hard, again, to catch it on camera. To catch all that on camera was very, because, hey, look, the devil's tricky, man.
Yeah, he is.
Wait, so she told the police that the child was with you. So they rolled up at that moment, thinking that the child was with you, and she rolled up with the child with her?
No, she was rolling up like she was trying to retrieve Mason from me.
She
But
had
she
already
just
dropped
dropped
them
him off.
and then the police came.
They wasn't
So
there
it
the whole
looked
time.
like that he was, because he was already with him. So it looked like he had been with him, and now she's rolling up to get him.
Saying, hey, give me my son.
Exactly.
You see his face. He like, hey man, it's that serious, man.
Wait. She drops your son off and then pulls up and says, give me my son?
Yes.
Wow, man.
So what were, if you don't mind me asking, man, again, none of this you got to answer if you don't want to. What were the papers they were trying to serve you?
So when you get a protective order, you know, you can either get a protective order for yourself, or some people, a lot of mom, when they're in a custody battle, they try to get a protective order with the children attached to the protective order.
Okay.
Because before I get to divorce court, if I can get a protective order against you taking custody, I won custody before we got to divorce court or custody court if you're not married.
You won custody before?
I'm
You're
saying,
physically
no, what I'm saying is that people, when there's a divorce or a separation that's about to happen,
Gotcha.
people will file a protective order because generally you got two sides saying they both want custody. The father say, nah, I think I should have custody. The mother say, no, I think I should have custody. And then of course, you know, with custody comes child support. Most women ain't paying child support. They don't want to, it's like, I mean, they turn into, you know, different type of people if you try to get them to, if you try to take the children and if you know, you think you're going to have them pay child support. So what they do is, instead of trying to work it out, because people are so fast to go to court, and sometimes it take a couple of passes with a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, pastor, family member, elder in the community. It takes time to kind of like let things kind of simmer down and come up with an action plan. But people use court as their first remedy instead of the very, very last remedy.
It's a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. Life just said it. So what people do is, a lot of ladies, they know that the court is slanted towards them. And all they need to do is just file a protective order. And if they get it granted, and sometimes you don't even have to get it granted. If I just keep filing one against you, then the judge is going to be like, where there's smoke, there's fire. So by the time you get to divorce court, she'll say, well, I had to file 7 protective orders against him. Anything
And the
they
shit
need to
sound
do to
fucked
get
up
custody.
just on the surface.
Anything that they need to do to get custody, they will do it. So that's what she did.
So so there was a protective order filed against you for her and your son.
Well, she tried to get one, but then the judge, thankfully, they are looking at her history, and she got one from a lower court that had our son on it. The higher court got that protective order and changed it and took Mason off of it.
Okay.
So when I got the papers, after a while, I looked at him. I was like, Mason is not on a protective order. Because I'm kind of savvy with this now, because we've been going back and forth with this for a while. So Mason is not when you have a protective order, they list everybody that is protected on the order. So say if James, you and I were protected from life, both of us would be on this protective order saying that life should not contact James or Bobby.
Gotcha.
So Mason was not on the order.
Right.
So I'm telling them, since this is my court order day.
This is what you're telling the sheriff in the moment. Okay.
And he's not on a protective order.
Right.
Then just give him the papers and we'll leave. All right, we'll just see
And
her
they
in court.
trying to take your son.
Yeah.
So they're under the impression that he's under protective order.
Yes.
That's why they wanted to take him.
And that she hasn't had him in months.
But that ain't got nothing to do with them.
Yeah, but they're thinking that they had to return Mason to her because I've held him for these months. That's why she dropped him off and pulled off and then pulled up like she had an idea that he's going to be at this store. That's sinister, man.
How did the...
It's a lot of. Well, let's say this, dog. Let's say that there's this end of that. But then we talked about this too. There's also the end where women are in real trouble, are in real jeopardy of physical, and these babies is some wild dudes out here doing wild things. So a lot of time these sheriffs and officers err on the side of overprotecting because of what the possibility could happen. But it seems like that, again, that's weaponized because someone along the way, there's no social work involved, there's no research to see what's really happening. There's no understanding about the parties involved. There's no, because a lot of times, like even like when it comes to parents losing their custody of their kid, like when they do something where they see negligence, there's social workers involved that work with them to get their kids back, to understand what's going on all around, all over the place. But it doesn't seem like that happens in these sorts of things. I don't know if it does.
Well, in certain counties, they do research.
Okay.
I mean, this is happening so much in Prince George's County, they know what time it is. So you can have judges right there in Prince George's County, like, you know what, sis?
Interesting.
You can have a protective order if you want to.
Yeah.
But we did research and found out that you're about to go to custody court. Is that correct? And they'll say, yeah, I'm about to go to custody court. Okay, so we're not going to put the children on your protective order.
Right.
You can have a protective order if you want to.
Right.
But we're going to keep the kids off of it. But you get a Howard County, which is, it's almost like being back in the Twilight Zone. And we can unpack why I believe, well, at this point, why I know why they're doing, what they're doing.
Oh, we all
These
know
people
that's
are not familiar with black folks like that. Howard County, I think maybe 13 or 14% of Howard County is African American, black. Whereas Prince George's County, that number is far and wide. And it's a lot more black judges in Prince George's County. There were no judges in the circuit court that were black. No judges. I'm sorry, there is one, but we go back and forth. He told me he was black, and I told him I couldn't tell.
That helped you. I'm pretty sure he.
I'm sure it helped me out a whole lot. But this is after he's done a lot of things. He has a track record of not being fair, and judges are supposed to be fair. They're supposed to be fair. You don't. Implicit bias that's a whole different thing, but
or at least follow the law.
They don't. And once a retired lawyer pulled me to the side and said, he's an older guy, so he thought, we still, kind of look young. Y'all brothers take care of yourselves. So, So he thought I was younger than what I really was. And he was like, young man, I'm just letting you know out here, this is a Twilight Zone and they don't follow the law.
Yeah.
And when I say this is like 2019, I say, what are you talking about in 2019? Why wouldn't they? He said, they don't follow the law. It's different. And, when you have that type of situation going on, and you're represented by a lawyer, and you have evidence, and they still like, whatever. I mean, that's like being back in a Jim Crow era.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it doesn't even matter that you have representation. They're going to do what they want to do. And that's what that retired lawyer said. There's people off, the record saying these things to me because I've been there so much. They see me fighting. They see how slandered and wrong it is. And they're sitting there saying things off the record. Of course, I can't say it on the record. But this is where we are in Howard County.
Let me ask you a question. And I think this is going to probably be, I want to kind of take a different path. And if you're not comfortable, it's fine. I understand. When did things start getting bad between like you and the mom? Was that something that was gradual, or as it relates to like all of this stuff that you're experiencing now, or was it something that just happened suddenly?
I think that she was, between us, there's a lot of things that was going wrong with her, but some people are really good with being able to cover up things. They're good with being able to mask things down. Of course, when you start living with people, you see things. And I think with us, just to answer your point directly, I think that things started unraveling when she lost custody of her older son. So she lost custody of her older son in 2017.
So she has 2 kids.
She has 2 children.
Okay.
So
and y'all were together when she lost custody of her son.
So she was involved in a court battle, start to sound familiar. She's involved in a court battle from the time she moved from Prince George's County, because I was already in Howard County. She moved out there, was my oldest son. So I'm a custodial parent, like as in having custody of my older son.
So you have 2 sons?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my older son, I
How old
got
is he?
him, he's now 19 years old. He's 19 years old. I got him when he was 6, meaning that he moved back with me full-time. I'm a full-time dad with a 6-year-old, all right? And his mother's active. She's in Virginia, you know what I mean? So, you know, we are co-parenting. He just happens to live with me in Howard County.
Right.
So it's him and I, and then she moves out to Howard County, you know, with me, with her son. The moment she moved, which was 2011, he started filing them court cases. It was court cases before, but trust and believe, it was some court cases.
So
and
just so we're clear. So you have a 6-year-old that you're living with at the time that you're, and then she has 2.
She has 1.
She has 1 at the time.
Yeah.
And how old was he when he moved in?
He was, so my boy was about 7, and her baby boy is about 6 years old.
Okay, so he was a
they're
little
about the
bit
same
younger.
age.
Okay, so about the same.
About it, yeah, a couple
Okay.
months apart.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, then court cases ensue. You know, he's sending sheriffs and officers at the door in Howard County, knocking on the door, serving papers, and then they start going to court.
The son's father.
Son's father.
Her
They
son's
start-
father.
Yeah, they start going to court. Howard County, Prince George's County, they're going to court every 3 months.
So was he seeing the son? Was he
He
upset
was seeing
that
the
he
son,
wasn't?
but what happened is that I think he has a case similar to yours. He has joint legal custody.
Okay.
So when you have joint legal custody, from what
Yeah.
I understand, you're supposed to inform the person when you're about to move,
Yep.
or if you're making these moves. She didn't do it.
I think, and also you have, well, it depends on the county. You cannot move within a certain distance radius from where you are
Right.
unless the parents agree or there's some kind of
Right.
something that needs to be done.
And this move to Howard County breached that.
It wasn't super far. It was right there on the Laurel line.
Okay.
Yeah.
But from where she was, it was what is it, St. Barnabas Road in Prince George's County
Yeah.
to Howard County, Laurel side.
So bottom line, the father didn't like that shit.
Oh, no.
Right.
All right. So
Right.
he went through the process.
Yeah. So soon.
And it was probably some other shit involved too.
Well, also
about
too, I mean, you
moving
got to
and all
say that, you know, she's essentially moving in with a guy,
Right.
Yeah.
and he has an every other weekend schedule.
Did you
And
know
in his
him?
mind-
Did you guys have a conversation?
No, we didn't. I had seen him a couple of times before,
Yeah.
but I was asking her questions,
Mm.
and she answered them wrong. Now we know she answered them wrong, but what I did do is I tried to reach out to him because I knew that, you know, this young man would be moving out to Howard County with me. So I did reach out to him because, you know, a lot of guys, you know, get a little riled up when that situation
Hell
happens.
yeah.
They should.
And I wanted to let him know, because of the situations I've been through before, you know, even with my son, I was like, you know, I need to let this guy know that, hey man, I am not trying to step on your toes, and I do not want to be his daddy. Because
Right.
some people, you know, come in the picture being like, you know, I got to beat my chest, I got to raise this child.
Call me dad.
This dude is
shit.
a deadbeat because the mama said so.
Yeah.
And now I got to step in and raise this guy. And I was like, you know what? I don't want that type of situation for my life and my family.
Right.
And because I know what that entails, which
Right.
is court.
Right.
So I tried to reach out to him, but I mean, at that thing, I don't think he was trying to hear it.
Yeah.
So this is 2011.
2011.
You're observing how she's moving and reacting to the first dad at the time. How are you feeling about this? How are you processing that relative to what was going on?
Well, what happens is that men get this narrative put on them by the mother, the lady. You know what I mean? And oftentimes men don't talk. So we won't call the person and try to speak to them and have a conversation. We're going to take whatever that person said that their ex says for face value. And you don't get a chance to really bounce it off and do research and say, well, let me ask him, or, you know, let me ask her. You know, it's just, that's what she said, or, you know, in a guy's instance, that's what he said about, you know, his ex-wife or whatever. And then you just move on. And usually, you know, you get that story after you had sex with them.
Yeah, and
You know,
also
so-
we get into this. These men, as men, we get into this saving mode where you know we see them as a damsel in distress. So we love them, so you know we want to help them as much as they can, and we see a bad guy, and you know it's nuanced and there's a lot of layers in it, man. And it's all I don't know what it is, but it's a lot to it.
So when you said, I want you to feel like, I knew I shouldn't have got married when I got married. I knew that wasn't the right woman. I'll be 100% honest. I can blame it on a gang of shit about her not being right or whatever. Her. James Shelby knew that she wasn't the right one. And so in hindsight, I asked myself, why did I do that? And I got to answer that honestly when I ask the question, right? A lot of the men who I know who are going through a divorce or who have gone through a divorce, the majority of the ones, I'm talking about like, I can't even remember somebody saying they didn't know. Mm-hmm. Most men, all the men that I can think of in hindsight, knew that the person that they were marrying, that there was something off, that there wasn't the right one.
That's true.
And so when I talk to women about, when I say that to a woman, when I say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have got married when I got married. It's like, why the hell did you do it? I'd be like, do you know how many motherfuckers are still going through this shit? Especially it's some dudes who ain't never been married before, right? I talked to a dude, we got a homeboy, and I was telling him, he was like, dude, why would you do that? That sounds silly as hell. And I'm like, most motherfuckers are marrying people they know they shouldn't marry. And so I'm asking the question in regards to like when, and because I feel like somewhere through the process, we're choosing a life experience in order to learn something from that should eventually put the lens back on us to try to not judge or make us feel bad or anything, but just to help us understand more of what's going on. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's my attempt in asking you the kind of questions that I'm asking. It's just, that's up for you to decide. I think I'm just trying to understand when we get in these situations with these women and our kids are being used as pawns and the judicial system is being weaponized in a way that doesn't put us in the best situation. It's easy for us to say, fuck that bitch. Not to say that anybody's saying that, but it's easy to say that. It's easy to say you lied to me, you betrayed me, you hurt my feelings, or whatever the fuck it is. You ain't shit. But when you follow them motherfucking breadcrumbs back to that gingerbread house, I don't know if I'm adding fairy tales or not.
You mixing them, dog.
Like, I feel like there's an opportunity there as the individuals, because even as we're doing this shit and having these conversations and talking about, it's from the male side, right? It's from one side of the story, and I feel like what keeps the conversation clean and loving is reminding ourselves that these women also have a story, and they also have pain, and they also got breadcrumbs that they need to follow back, and they also have parts of the story that they have to own and be responsible for if they want to heal and create a better space for their kids. But this is the only motherfucking side that we can control.
But here's it's so many different things. What you said was profound. So many different things to unpack, because you know we get held accountable. Men, we get held accountable for the things that we do wrong. And what often happens is that they don't get held accountable for what they are doing wrong.
100%.
And we're talking about the churches too. The churches are not holding these type of people, because not all black women are not like this. You know, they're beautiful, wonderful, and amazing moms and wives that are doing an excellent job. But what happens is that, you know, these people are able to perpetrate like they are a good mom, a good wife, you know, because nobody's checking them, nobody's questioning these things. So they're able to slip off into the darkness and continue to do these things. And what's happening is that the children are traumatized because they can just get away with it. They know they can get away with it. That's the thing. I know that I can get away with it. You're not going to catch me. I'm too slick. Courts are going to help me. The church is going to back me up. And my family is too. And my friends.
And there's a narrative that's told both to them and by them that will paint them as a victim. There are movies, countless books, it's a narrative that everybody sort of believes. So even they do.
Yeah.
So they, in their mind, they don't see what they're doing as, they see themselves as a victim. So now they're moving in this way that we might see one way, but they don't see it that way. And I can't quite put I say this, in these relationships, dog, these people, these women see the best of us and they also see the worst of us in these very intimate, close marriages, relationships, and vice versa. We see the best of them and we see the worst of them. We don't necessarily see our worst in the same way that they see our worst, right? And vice versa. We don't see,
that's a good point.
they don't see our worst in the same way that we see our worst. We see our worst as whatever, mistakes or whatever it is.
Did that go to Love is Blind?
I don't know if because even when it's all over and said and done and everybody's moved on, like in situations, they're still dealing with that. There's trauma that they're dealing, just like we do, right? That they're dealing with, that they haven't quite worked through. Their expression of that is what you're dealing with, is the courts and trying to retaliate and hurt and all of that. That's sort of how they deal with whatever they're going through. How we deal with it is way different. Like sometimes we don't. We just push the shit way down and we get into these conversations of fuck that bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But on the flip side of that too, there's a lot of men who actually, they go and get the help.
Absolutely.
They're going to talk to the therapist. They're talking to the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a stigmatism, or that's a stereotype on us, is that we don't want to go to church or whatever religious, you know, location we go to. We don't want to talk about things. We don't want to go to the therapist. We don't want to go to a psychiatrist, psychologist. And there's so many of my brothers that say, you know what, I've scheduled it. I've went. They continue to go. You know, it's men that are scheduling the therapy sessions with the husband and the wife.
And you know what? We're here. That's why we're here.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's a part of the creating new patterns. We don't say that shit.
Right.
We don't say, hey, yo, man, I'm going to go talk to somebody.
Right. I'm struggling.
Right. Or we just go talk to somebody and then don't tell no motherfucking body.
Right.
And then show up like, I'm the illest nigga on the planet. And it's like, nah.
But you know what? Society is doing that to us.
Yeah.
Society is doing that to us, because here's the flip side of that. For the men that do get the courage to say something, for every time there's a man that's actually saying something, it's a church or a court system that's saying, man, you know what? Don't do that. That's not okay. You know what I mean? Or, you know, you'll be all right, man. You know,
suck it up.
They'll ask for help, and then the church will say, you know what, man, we can't help you.
Yeah. Or
so
they'll say,
you're asking for help, and then you're not getting the help,
right?
You know, or the support,
right?
So then you go back into what you were taught already, which is, you know what, I shouldn't say anything about it, right? Because you ask for help, and people, like literally the people who are saying, hey, James, if you need help, give me a call. But then you call them and you reach out to them, and oh man, I'm busy, or yeah, you know, I really can't help you. So, but what you just said when we was at church, you know, or you just said, you know, when we was at this gathering in front of everybody, that, you know, hey, you can help me. But when I call you directly and personally, you
it's a different story.
Yeah, that's happening to a lot of people too. So then they circle back and say, well, you know what? I'm on my own with this, so I'm not going to ask anybody for help no more.
Well, I'm going to medicate it the way I know how to medicate it, which is wild.
So that's society's fault. That's not necessarily men's fault, because there are more men asking for assistance. And when I say asking, I've asked several entities for assistance with what I was going through. And they was like, oh man, it's not that serious. You know, he'll be okay, you know.
But I think, bro, even having the courage to ask for help doesn't mean you're going to get it. It just means
that you recognize the problem.
You're recognizing that there's a gap there. And maybe, and the acknowledgement or the recognition of it. What was the statement that you said? A
well-defined problem is half solved.
Yeah. So that's a well-defined problem by even raising your hand and saying, I need help. If I'm in this motherfucker and it's on fire and I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Now, I can raise my hand and say, hey, man, can you give me some water? You might not have no water.
No, but here's, let me get really clear. When there's a fire, who you gonna call?
The fire department.
So the fire department shows up and said, well, shit, man, we normally got water. We ain't got no water, man. Actually, you know what? The fire truck is not even working. But you're told to call the damn fire department. So when you call because that entity is designed to do what you think it's supposed to do, which is come and put a fire out. But when I call the fire department and say, hey man, you know what? We can't do it today. You know, that's a different story opposed to saying when you ask for help, you might not get it because you're asking for it. But if that entity is designed to specifically handle that situation, and when you call 911 and say it's a fire in my house, and then they tell you that, man, you know what? Yeah, we supposed to help, but we just, man, we got a checkers tournament to go to, and you know, sorry.
Not gonna be able to do it.
You say chess, them simple niggas,
right?
But I do. So here's a part of the process that I feel we gotta acknowledge, which is we're not gonna be able to help everybody. And everybody that say they want help don't really want help. They looking to be support. They looking to be taken care of. And that's not to say all dudes. So I want to make sure, or all people in general. And so as men, we have to own all the parts of the process that we can control. All of them. The excuses. And you also have to own the excuses that you have made that led up to that point, and then figure out a way. I don't know what that is for everybody. And I'm also clear that everybody ain't gonna figure it out. And I'm also clear that everybody ain't gonna get supported and loved. But I do feel like the majority of the people who really, truly want that help will figure that out. And a part of starting, and I feel the beginning parts of that is truly by owning it. We don't get to give up. Those days of blaming, not saying you're saying this, by the way, those days of blaming other things, other people, other institutions, white people, blah, 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 it's gonna always be some shit that's gonna block us from that blessing. It's gonna always be some shit that's going to be a barrier to prevent us from what it is that we say we want. So like I was telling you before.
I don't believe in those institutions anymore. I believe it's more so us blocking us.
So, but we got to own that. So like when you said, if you want help, the universe is going to say, prove it. It's going to say, prove it. It's not going to say no, because it's designed to give us what we want. That's God's promise, the universe's promise, for us to manifest this shit in our lives that we say we want. But when we say we want it, it says prove it. And proving it is by overcoming some of these objectives, and by pushing through, and by loving when we're not to, when we feel like we shouldn't, by forgiving motherfuckers when we want to cut their goddamn throat, and all of this other shit.
How does that pour into most black children live away from their fathers in 2021?
I feel a lot of men, myself included, have made excuses for a gang of shit and have used a lot of reasons for why we aren't experiencing and sharing and showing up in the ways that we should. And we've got to change the conversations that we're having with ourselves so that we can overcome the shit to be what our kids and our community needs us to be. And so, if you not in your kid's life, Mr. Black man looking at this, that's your fault. That ain't no motherfucking body's fault, but yours. That ain't the mama's fault. That ain't the system's fault. That ain't no motherfucking body's fault, but yours. There, I get chills when I think about this shit. So you will have obstacles because the universe says prove it. You'll have obstacles that you have to overcome. But that's the same, that's life obstacles, overcoming. You just got to push through. You just got to show up. You just got to make that shit happen. I don't know, and what that looks like for each individual man is different, bro. It's not going to be the same. I got people in my life who's getting screwed out of millions of dollars, bro, by a system. I got brothers who talking about they can't be in their kids' life because the mama tripping. I want to be like, your son needs you. Your daughter needs you. If you got to love that woman to healing, if you got to be something for her that she can't be for herself so that you can show up for your kids, put your motherfucking ego to the side. Put all of that shit to the side that controls your life, that prevents you from showing up to be the man you need to be for that kid. That means you got to put all the tough shit to the side. It means you got to put ego to the side. I ain't saying this shit easy, bro. I ain't saying none of this shit is easy. It's simple, but it ain't easy. It ain't easy by any stretch of the imagination. But if you got a 6-year-old over in that motherfucker with a wild ass woman who can't see past her own pain, and that's preventing you from seeing your child, what do you have to be in order to show up for that child without excluding that woman? Because that woman is that child too. A part of what we be talking about, we want to separate and cut and all of this old kind of shit too. I don't know what the answer is, bro. But from a higher level, higher learning type of perspective. But we don't get to not show up. Our kids need us. And I don't know, and this is obviously for people outside of this room, right? But these excuses that we have been making, man, I don't know how you love somebody who you don't feel deserves it. All I know is the Bible told me that God did that for me. And so if somebody's out there trying to love me in spite of my motherfucking self, what greater example could I be in the world if I wasn't trying to love somebody in spite of themselves? That don't mean you got to hang around with them.
Some people don't know what love is. I mean, you're right, with the responsibility of saying that, we chose each other. You know what I mean? You chose your mate. You chose to have sex with that person and have a child. But that doesn't give that person the right to rampage your whole entire life. No. At all. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. Everybody needs to have accountability partners. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have anybody holding you accountable, but you have the men being held accountable, mm-hmm. but that lady is not being held accountable by her community, then she's gonna just rampage the whole entire and sabotage the entire situation. And that's happening on the level. So that's why I threw out that number. How is it that most black children now, that's an actual stat, live in single parent households that are not led by men? That's a problem. And I think it's beyond men just, we saying that they have to take responsibility and they gotta own their shit. No, it's a force out here that's pulling families apart. It is an absolute force. One father, it's an African proverb. It says one father is equal to 100 teachers.
So we're asking the system to do.
I was just thinking about this for a second. Just think about one father is equal to 100 teachers. Just think about that for a second. One father is equal to 100 teachers. So that means that a teacher it would take 100 teachers to equal one father's words to his daughter or his son. And when you start to think about those things and say, well, why are so many fathers being pulled out of the picture? Why are they being taken away? It starts to leave beyond, these ladies actually doing it, but is there a force behind that that's actually making that happen? They're a part of it, but it's way bigger than what we think it is. Because again, if one father is equal to 100 teachers, and most black children are living in a household that's not led by a father, then you can start to figure out some things.
Well, I mean, let's be clean about it. So that's a heavy stat, and we all see it all the time. And again, we can't paint it all with one brush. Are there dudes out here who ain't doing what the fuck they supposed to do? Absolutely. Are there dudes out here who are lukewarm about doing what they supposed to do and just okay with being weekend dads and buying Jordans and all that shit? Yeah. Are there dudes who are doing exactly what they're supposed to do and get up and fight every day to be a part and to play a part in their children's lives because they love them and they understand the importance that they have? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Are there women on down that spectrum all the way to, are there women who weaponize a system that's there that can be used as a tool, like any other tool, right? You can take a hammer and build a house, or you can bust a motherfucker in the head. It's just how you use the tool. They can weaponize that tool to intercede, to be a part of their emotional, how they deal with this fractured relationship with themselves and with their mate. Yes, all those things are part of the story. None of them are the same. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, to James's point, if you understand what your value is, and if you believe that universe, as you move towards it, is gonna move it towards you, we have to continue to move towards getting to these babies, man. And part of it is our own healing. Part of it is our own accountability, is our own, dealing with the shit. I don't think that we should have to enable people who are exhibiting bad behavior, right? Or we should excuse or enable or kind of put that in the backseat and let them have this bad behavior because we're trying to navigate them. I feel like that it has to be a level of accountability, that you have to, but how do I do that? As a man, if I'm controlling, like we always say, if I'm setting the temperature in my environment, how am I going to convey to you, look, man, I don't want us to be like this, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want this bad thing between us. Whatever I'll do, whatever it takes, if we need to sit in therapy as separate individuals and work this through, whatever you need to know that I care about you, that I want for your happiness. But I need this boy. I need to be raising this boy. He needs me and I need him, right? Whatever that looks like, we need to get to there. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily mean what you're saying. I think both things are true. That doesn't mean that we have to enable these people to behave badly.
So for me, I'm a news reporter. I'm CNN. I gotta report what's going on.
Right.
And it's information that hasn't been illustrated before. So what's happening is that people automatically default to, well, it's not that bad, or you must have did something.
Really? Do you hear that? Like people say it's not that bad?
It's not that bad. You must have did something. You chose her, she chose you. And all of those things are off-putting. And what happens is that the children never get the assistance that they need. Because it's always, well, you need to do this, or you should do this, or you got to do this, and you got to do that. But this child is sitting here screaming for help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we go to court more, black folks go to court more than anybody else. You can go in I think Maryland has maybe 12 counties. And I challenge everybody, even you all, to go and sit in some of these court buildings. And, your time off, they're public. So you can sit in most cases. They may ask you, hey, are you here for, no, I'm just here to observe. and just sit in there and watch in predominantly white counties. You're going to watch black people be the largest number of attendees in a court building.
That's wild, because then if you say that, now I think about it, you're absolutely right, dog. You can go to counties that are sometimes 10% black, if that, and you go to any court and it's gonna be black people by and large in there.
So that means that we're taking each other to court. And men don't want to go to court. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Most men don't file for divorce. Okay? That's not what we do. You got most men trying to save the marriages.
Agreed.
They're trying to save the marriages. You got women exiting marriages. You got women, I mean, these are verbal accounts. I'm talking about 5-6 years now of research that I've done.
Yeah.
You have men scheduling therapy appointments, trying to talk to the pastor, psychologists, psychiatrists, accountability partners, elders in the community, elders in the family. And you literally have the ladies, usually it's the men walking out, or we don't want to go. It's the ladies actually walking out. If you don't do this, then we're going to court.
But also, dog, that accountability piece. There's a fracture that happens. It could be an erosion that happens over time in these relationships, man. And who knows how all that works, how we get to that, right? So there's a process that we get to when somebody's talking about walking out, right? And I don't know what happens in there. Like I said, people see the best of you and people see the worst of you, and vice versa. And when all that shit comes out in the rents, I don't know what happens.
We don't.
But we
talk
get to a
about it.
point.
We don't, and that's what I mean when I say you're physically going somewhere to see these things, right? In the courts and hearing about it, and we're not talking about it, and that's what I feel. That's a part of the lack of accountability that I'm tired of hearing men ain't shit. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of hearing that. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it's true. I believe ain't nobody shit. Every motherfucking body's equal when it comes to that kind of shit, right? But I'm tired of hearing this narrative that ain't nobody, that men ain't shit. And the reason why that is because of the stories and the narratives that are we're not talking about this shit. And it's one of the things that I appreciated about what you did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got conversations with people. Ain't nobody talking about this shit. Everybody, but when I talk to the women, they talk about, oh, this dude. Brothers are struggling in a way that they can't communicate or don't feel like they can communicate, but it shows, so.
And listen, real quick, we could never do the shit right. Like, we are struggling with shit that we had 20 years before we met these women, that we never dealt with, that trauma that we've been dealing with that we never talk about. So we go into these situations where we're not quite right any damn way. So now it's just magnified. We can't hide behind anything because the shit is magnified because you're in this very intimate relationship. When you live with somebody, you sleep with them and wake up with them every single day, man, there's nothing that you can hide from them that won't eventually come out, right? And we don't know how to we didn't know how to deal with it then.
And so when it reaches the head,
yes,
that's what's recorded.
Right.
Not all the shit that led up to that.
Right.
And so one of the reasons why I want to start having regular conversations with men about their challenges and their struggles in their relationships with women. I don't care if it's the mama, if it's the wife, if it's the boyfriend. I mean, so listen, because we don't have safe spaces for those kinds of conversations. Mm-hmm. And they only get elevated when we reach the fuck it stage.
Right.
And I want to try to preempt that. I want us to get comfortable and I want us to be comfortable with sharing the things that we struggle with when it's lower level shit, so that it doesn't really get to the higher level stuff, and so that we can change the stories, so that we can start holding women accountable and more hold the broader community accountable earlier, consistently, as opposed to the tail end. If this motherfucker's calling you and you ignoring his call, you gotta have a community. The sister gotta have a community on her end that says, hey, what's going on? You need to, before this shit blows up. But those kinds of things never make it. And so I do agree that there's a force, bro. I don't know how we communicate that to a kid on why we ain't showing up, though, is what I'm saying. And so I think
But there's so many entities that are causing the father not to show up, other than his own volition of not showing up. Like for me, you know, how I've already proven that I show up.
Right.
I'm a custodial.
In spite of.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm already a custodial parent.
In spite of.
In
his
spite
older
of the
brother.
shit. Right.
Right. That was presented in court. They know these things. So just that shows you how strong this force is and this assignment. These judges got assignments, okay? Because it's easy to say, you know what, 50-50, automatic.
But bro, you're talking about getting to court though, right?
But the law should be automatic 50-50, because I guarantee that most people are not filing any more court papers. If you notice an automatic 50-50, you're gonna think twice about going to court, because automatically everything's split down the middle. But if I know that if I go and I file a false protective order and I'm gonna get 80% of the time, and you know, you gotta pay child support, why wouldn't I go to court?
So I feel like if we got to court, something went wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're at a court conversation, then
yeah, there are things that should have happened before, that could happen before.
So here's what happens. If most ladies that's in that predicament, they'll say, well, we won't have to go to court if you only do what I tell you to do.
I'm talking about even before that.
But I mean, that's taught. That's learned behavior.
So,
and when you can start going back to how many fathers have been removed out of the black community, talking about in our generation, the generation after ours, and before ours, this is a common thing that's happening. And when you start to talk to most fathers, they'll say that they went to court, they tried. I mean, 6 or 7 passes to try to be in the picture, just to be in the picture.
But dog, what would you have done if the first, I don't know how many trials you went through, the first 4 times it ain't work? Would there be 5, 6, 7, 8? Would you have done all that you would have to do to get there?
You talking about in this particular situation?
Either one of your kids.
I mean, I'm one of them dudes, man. I'm gonna keep going.
So there's no difference between you and any other dude, right? So we have, again,
no, guys give
you
up.
are
They
right.
quit. They
There is obstacles in place for whatever reason, for lots of reasons that keep us from that. And sometimes the mother being one of those obstacles. But again, man, I'm like you. Whatever I have to do, if I got to dig under the courthouse to get to, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I gotta do to get to my boys. And it don't matter.
For somebody like me that's a researcher, an investigative reporter, when I start to sit in court and I see Caucasian fathers show up, they rarely are there.
Yeah.
Asians almost never there.
Yeah, you never see no. Yeah.
But when you start to compare the cases, and there's some, Caucasian fathers that's getting the business too.
Yeah.
Okay. But not to the extent of what we're getting. Their cases are much different. I mean, same judge. Go to the same judge. I mean, y'all done seen the side-by-side comparisons of criminals who, one black person, I mean, how many people have gotten killed and white people walked away from the same situation? So there is an issue. And like you said, how did they get to court? Why is it going to court? And that's because of some things that we're not addressing in the black community. We're not addressing it. The men are addressing it, but we're not addressing it as a community, and we got to put some of that on the church.
So
you think
that You think that black men are addressing it?
They've been trying to address it.
So black men, you feel that black men have been trying to address the issues in their community. Mm-hmm. What do you think has been preventing them from addressing those things?
There's a cover-up happening.
Break that down.
Literally, it's so many different cover-ups happening. Grandma knows that her grandbaby is out here wilding, and she'll just cover it up. The courts, they know that these things are happening. I mean, dude, you can literally sit in on a court case and you'll see these things happen. It's gotten to the point that, you can go to PG County though, where, some people still think that it's probably one of the worst counties, but it's one of the best counties for a black man to get custody in a Washington metropolitan area. To the point where you got ladies knowing that, you know what, they won't go to Prince George's County, or they try to avoid certain judges in Prince George's County because they know they're probably going to get 50-50 custody.
So you said that black men are trying to address an issue in the community.
Yeah.
So I'm asking because I don't believe that.
Okay.
And that's why we got to go to court. Like I believe everything starts with the individual. There gonna always be forces. So before you get to court, you meeting the girl at the club. She got on ass popping. Your motherfucking ass can't control nothing and can't see nothing and been programmed to deal and respond to nothing but what you see. You could tell she off a little bit, but you don't give a fuck because of that ass. This is base level shit. Excuse my language. We ain't at court yet, right? What's going on? What's happening? You hook up, y'all start dating, whatever. We still ain't at court yet. You got another one on the side, you got another one over here, you got another one over there, we playing games, we doing this, blah, 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 blah. Woman already got 2 kids, because another dude met her in the club when she had the other dress on showing her ass and told her all of this shit, right? So we still ain't at court yet. There's a force that is dominating that interaction, I feel, before we get into any of that old other shit.
You know what that is? You forgot a whole different, you forgot a whole area. Those 2 people that you're talking about that met each other, their fathers got jacked by the court in the 70s. So they're broken entities trying to work with each other and get together. So the court got to them through their daddies.
Okay. So
you're talking about the father has been stolen for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. So now, it's getting worse. That's why we got to say something, because it's more and more black children who are growing up in single parent led households, and it's not the father.
But
so it's getting worse.
So at what point though, knowing that, right, are we responsible for our own, like how we move? Like understanding that, we all got shit with us. We all got shit that we have dealt with and have yet to deal with. But at some point we gotta say, we gotta take responsibility for how we interact and the shit that we, to his point, before we get to the point where we need to go to court, right? To avoid, I don't know if avoid is even possible, but
we're starting, y'all seen that video where they gave people head starts? It was like a 100-yard dash.
Yeah, where they had
and
people
the black people had to sit at everybody started out and it was like, take 5 steps forward, if you had this and 5 steps forward, if you had that. And by the time they got finished, telling everybody to take whatever steps they needed, most of the white people were at the finish line. And the black people had to start from the beginning and try to catch up and pass the people who were already close to the finish line. So we're starting out with deficiencies, and then we're being asked to be able to do what they're doing.
So we're starting out with different deficiencies. Everybody starts off with a deficiency. That thing was we're starting off with different deficiencies, but we're also starting off with some motherfucking attributes, with some cold-blooded shit that ain't nobody else got, that doesn't necessarily get measured. And a part of us owning our shit is owning what our metrics are as men, as what, again, these forces are there. It's like gravity. We don't get to not live with gravity on Earth, right? So we don't get to not live with resistance. We get to determine how we perceive our resistance, how we respond to the resistance, and what we do to overcome it, and how we help other people, overcome the shit. But the idea that we're gonna live in zero G gravity moving forward, that just ain't gonna be what it is. So,
but our babies are not getting what they're supposed to have in their formative years. And if you don't get what you're supposed to have in your formative years, you got a lot of shit that you're about to encounter.
So how do we give our babies, if you know that right now at this very second, what will keep you from giving that to your baby?
What will keep me personally?
Yeah.
It's going to be, you want to give that to your child, and you have a plan in place to be able to convey those things and deliver that to your child. But here come the forces. And I don't think anybody wants to sign up for divorce or wants to be a non-custodial dad, meaning you don't have physical custody of your children and you're going to have to raise your kids from a different household, right, or see your children every other weekend or whatever your visitation schedule is that judges that never met your kid give you.
Yeah.
We all have intentions to work it out. Again, like I said before, most men don't want a divorce, or they don't want to not be under the same roof. That's a false narrative. That most dudes are done, I'm giving up, they're walking out, they're gone. That's not true. It's most women that are exiting. That's a fact, that's a stat. I mean, you can look at the numbers, it's there.
I think it's about 80%.
So the thing is that if you're trying to administer these values to your children in the formative years, 0 to 12, but there's things that are pulling you apart beyond your control, the community has to recognize that that's a problem and come in and say that needs to be corrected, because if we have so many children who are not getting these essentials in their formative years, and then those people are being asked to now be fathers and mothers, I mean, we're going to have a serious problem over and over again. It's getting worse. We have to protect these children. We can't keep saying, you hear people say, black women are the most disrespected and unprotected entity here in the United States of America. Then you got black men that say, nah, it's us. But I rarely hear people say it's the children. You know what I'm saying? And say that, we all have to work with each other to save these babies, because if we don't build these strong children, then we're gonna have a hell of a damn situation. And that's what we're experiencing now. We keep coming up with these excuses as to somebody need to own this and men need to do this and all of these different things. But the whole time the children need guidance from the father and the mother, and there's forces and there's protection to keep these women and the ladies okay, but there's not many entities to keep these men and the fathers okay.
So who would keep whose responsibility is it to hold the women accountable?
Their family, the church. I mean, but if their fatherlessness in the black community is a huge situation, and a lot of these people, you have to be able to listen. We all got somebody that you listen to coming up, somebody that you can call to, and get advice from, somebody that can calm you down, like James, hey man, you need to do this, and somebody that you respect and you listen to. And when you start to look at these people who are in court and who are not, just really just doing the most of not trying to work with the other parent to raise the child, you're going to find somebody who probably didn't come up with their dad. The father is equal to 100 teachers. And we discount, I think we'd say we know how powerful a man is, but we don't understand how essential it is for children to be in the presence, a continual presence of their father.
I didn't grow up with my dad. Did you? No, you did. Did you grow up with your dad?
My mother and father got a divorce when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
But after that, I still, spent time, with my dad. Yeah. But he wasn't in the house, and there's some big things that I miss as a result of him not being in the house and not showing me and teaching me things. I made some critical errors as a result of him not being in the house.
So you said women should be held, because I'm trying to think about, I try to figure out, like in my mind when I'm trying to solve a problem, like what parts of it can I control? And as I'm thinking about you saying with the women, I'm trying to think about if a woman is, so the woman's community should hold the women accountable and the men's community should hold the men accountable.
It's the same community. We're in the same community, but there are people who are not being held accountable for what they're doing. And the church is not holding certain ladies accountable. And the families don't even know. You got people who are just, everybody is not getting it. So you got the whole entire family thinking that that's okay. That's normal pattern behavior. And they continue to think that these things are okay. But then you start to look at the family and say, where there's no men in the family. Where are the patriarchs? Where's the fathers? Where's the men in those families?
So you think that church still has an important role in the black family moving forward? With church attendance going down, people not going to church, people considering themselves, your statistics, guys.
Church attendance is a business. It's booming. Business is booming.
But people consider themselves more spiritual and less religious now more than ever, right?
Some people, but
well, from a statistic standpoint, yeah. Like the number of religion, like that number is going down from a identification.
I
could be wrong.
Look at Joel Osteen and the Potter's House and the rest of these different entities. They're packed, man. Yeah. People going to church on a continual basis, man. Tithing and offering is good, man. These ministers are living good. So the black church makes every weekend. I think collectively the black church is pulling in about $20 million a weekend. Collectively, that's $80 million a month.
And the crux, let's be real. At this point, it's built on the backs of black women. These churches are, if you go to any church, any large church, it's a lot of black women in there. And they're not gonna ruffle the feathers of
your number one customer.
Exactly.
Call it
the
what
person
it is.
who comes and who's paying your bills. And that, to that point, can they hold them accountable? Can the black church say, hey, you wildin'? And them receive that in a way that'll help them? Or would they just be like, I'm just gonna go find me a church that's gonna tell me what I wanna hear?
You just said it. That's what they're gonna do.
Because I think the new religion is social media, bro.
Leave.
I think all of this empowerment stuff, this individualism, this association with me and I don't need a man, that's an output of, like what we're saying now, I feel is an output of all of that. And so even going to the church and telling the church the force that you're talking about, that's pushing down on everything, it's pushing down on these women saying that they don't need a man. It's pushing down on them saying, you can leave. Girl, you making that money. You can do whatever it is that you don't need him. You can get by without him. Just go and file for divorce and get full custody. You'll be cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a lot of narratives that push down on, I think it's pushed down on all of us. But there's also a narrative of, you know, he should be paying. There's a narrative of, you know, he ain't shit. Get him for everything he, you know what I'm saying? He hurt your feelings. So now you got to spend the next 20 years at war with him, right? My baby daddy ain't shit and he ain't paying. I mean, it's a whole, and it's vice versa. There is, my baby mama ain't, she don't, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of narratives.
She out here.
It's a lot of narratives being pushed down on us, dog. And accountability is something that, like you said, it has to come, in order for you to receive accountability, it has to come from someone you respect and trust. Who do we really respect and trust?
Yeah, so if you don't have nobody
Rihanna.
that you...
Fucking Beyonce.
Yeah.
Beyonce.
But look, if you don't have anybody that can center you,
Right.
if you don't have anybody that can center you and say, you know what, Bobby, James, life, you wrong.
Right.
And then you listen to them and say, you know what, I didn't see it that way, but
Right.
since you telling me,
I'm wilding.
and I trust what you say because, you know, you've been around me for a while, and I respect you, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to what you're saying.
That ain't how that go.
Huh? But do you have somebody that if they say James, that's fucked up, man?
I don't.
Now ask the question. Do you have somebody that if they say James, I observed the situation and you're wrong, James, and you're gonna take what they said for face value?
No. So
Zero people.
this is what this podcast is a part of what it's about.
Okay.
When I am triggered, I reject that shit at that moment. I have to think about it. Most of my shit, I do real good at hiding and covering up. So when somebody, I had a woman tell me one time, you just like your mom. I want to say, bitch, I wanted to go off on her, right? Because she struck a nerve. The shit that now if you told me some surface shit that I saw, like, hey man, your dishes are dirty. I'd be like, okay. But if somebody said, you don't wipe your ass good because you got shit streaks. That's a little bit more personal.
Okay.
I have to act like you know what I'm saying? Like the more embarrassing it is, the more closer it is to a real pain. That's the kind of shit that I reject. You just telling me some surface shit. So
you saying you don't listen to nobody?
No, what I'm saying is they're generally met with resistance up front.
Right. Yeah.
And it's taken me to 45 years old to just be open and okay with that kind of shit. When I'm 30, you can't tell me shit at 30. So a part of, I'll just stop there. But it's
I got a son though. So I'm talking about my 9-year-old son now. And the time that him and I have spent together, this is because I got a chance to be, you know, in his first 6 years, I'm in his life on a continual basis. We got such a good relationship that he does listen to me. And he does ask my advice and he actually does it. So that's what I'm trying to say, that togetherness and spending that time in their formative years God is gonna give all of us somebody that is gonna be able to tell us something and we actually hear it and we actually do it, which is gonna save us in our 20s and 30s, or sometimes make us have to get into our 40s and 50s and say, well, shit, I just got it. Whereas counterparts of ours, they got it at 5 and 7. Little Asian boys that's doing the damn cash registers and stuff in the Chinese carryouts, they got these things in their formative years where our kids are gonna, you know, to get financial or business acumen, we gotta go to college and we gotta read all these periodicals and it takes us 30, 45 to figure out that we need to start investing. We're being shortchanged by pulling the father out of the situation, and we're just figuring things out in our late 30s and early 40s, and that's a problem because by the time you get to 40, 35, you live half your life. Half of your life is done at between 35 and 40 years old, and there are other races that are getting these things at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 years old. And that is a huge problem, man. That's a huge problem for us, and we're losing big time as a result of that. So we should have somebody that we listen to when we are at a crossroads.
And that's a blessing, right? Not everybody is starting from the same point, just even in the same. So we meet women who don't have nobody and don't give a fuck because of the way they look or the way they do what it is that they do or whatever the case may be, right? So
how long did it take us to figure out to walk away from those women?
Shit. So when we.
Now I want to hear a number. Y'all say shit. Is shit a number?
Oh,
what's
that's
the
a good
number?
point.
Yeah, it's a number. It's never.
I mean, bro.
But are you different from what you were at 21, 22?
Oh, hell yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
So you've learned some things to say, you know what? I see that shit before. You know what? I've heard that before.
Yeah.
You know what? All right, you could almost, you may still get caught, but you not as silly as you used to be.
Right.
Right? So you learn some things as a result of
your experience.
Right.
But I gotta be real. And I understand what you're saying about the forces and everything that's going on. I think I'm at a different place when I think about where we are as Black people and where our relationships are and how we show up as men and all of that kind of shit. I think the shit is beautiful, bro. I think that we are beautiful people. I think that whatever racism or whatever force it is that we have on our lives, if we were white, it'd be a different kind of force. It would have the same kind of challenges. It'd have this different, it would just be with a different lens. And so when I look over the landscape of Black people, I see beautiful people doing a lot of shit right, doing a lot of shit wrong, figuring it out, fumbling, scoring touchdowns, the whole 9 yards, the whole landscape. But I think that about humanity. So I struggle sometimes with trying to repeat a narrative that we're fucked as Black people, because I don't believe that. I believe everybody's fucked. You might not know you're fucked, but you're fucked. We all got an asteroid hitting Earth. I don't give a fuck if you got $1 million in the bank or 30,000. When the asteroid hit, so that's my equalizer for seeing like the landscape and the conditions of people and stuff like that. So when we talk about these challenges that we have and where we are in the courts and Black people and the family and kids and stuff, I don't know how I look at a little boy who's 6 years old and be like, you're perfect, you're fine, you can do anything, you're great. And then at the same time say, oh, you got all these things and we're at a deficit and we're behind and all of this kind of stuff. So what I generally like to, so right now today in 2021, I know that Black men are struggling. I know that Black women are struggling. I know that a way in which we tried to tell our stories traditionally has been with Black men keeping our shit behind us or behind the scenes and just suffering. I don't want us to suffer in silence anymore. I don't want us to have these conversations or behind the scenes. I want us to get comfortable being who we are. And who we are people who struggle, who persevere, who make mistakes, who get shit right, who fumble, who score touchdowns, all of that old other shit. And we do it in spite of, and we do that shit with swag, and we do that shit with love, and we do it with a smile on our face, with our heads held high. And so, but we gotta do it. And whatever story that I'm telling myself about the stuff on the back end is just the story that I can use to do it. I just don't like seeing us not do it. And I see too many. So I can talk about the force, and the force is real. But I also got to talk about the motherfucker who I see just not doing it.
Right.
Because if we can do it, anybody can do it. But that means, and I'm not rambling, but I also want to tell the dude, even if you don't want to do it, man, hey, look, I used to not want to do it. So I didn't wake up like this. I ain't 40. I ain't always had this mentality and this perspective. So if you are me at my 25, at my 30, I got to love you at that period. I got to love you through that and be an example so that you at least know what that shit looks like when you get to that point to when you actually decide to do it. But I can't beat you up because none of us showed up like this. That 25-year-old who saw that ass in the club, hey, that's what happens.
But going back to the video, and you can clearly see an unstable woman orchestrating a situation, dropping her child off, calling the sheriffs to come there to pick the same child up 3 minutes later. That's illustrating to you that there are people who are creating situations to pull children away from their fathers.
Absolutely.
If you ever, or if you never saw before, that video shows a whole lot. And there's an email that's attached to it. So somebody said, well, she could not have just called you to drop the kid off. I have an email. You know, I guess everybody doesn't know that I'm an investigative reporter and I collect data all day, every day. But if you never could see the force or see this thing that's pulling children away from their fathers, it's right there. She literally put together a situation where she used her son as bait, our son, as bait, knowing that he was going to get taken. You put him in a traumatic situation. Everybody would sit there and watch that video and say, well, shit, just don't bring him. Why would you even bring him? Don't drop him off. You already got him.
I mean, there's a gang of shit you'd be like, don't do.
But
right.
You already got him.
Yeah.
You don't need to drop him off.
But do you think that that's for you, you're not, and just based on our conversations, that's not going to stop you from doing what you need to do for your baby.
That traumatized him.
But I'm talking about you.
That's
not going to stop you, and that's even more of the reason why that's not going to stop you.
But that traumatized him.
Right.
From that happening. See, this is when I'm saying accountability. The community saying, you know what, that's not going to happen, or that shouldn't happen. And I've said something, prior to this, to saying, hey man, she's capable of doing these things. Nah, she can't be capable of doing that. Shit. Yes, she is. That's the problem. People don't want to face this situation head on and say that these are monsters. Some black moms are monsters. Why can't we say that? Why can't we say, you say that shit sometimes. People are like, oh my goodness, I can't, you're bashing black women. So what happens is that the children never get the help that they need because I guess all black moms are great. And I don't believe that. And I believe that there's a lot of excellent black mothers doing their thing. But how is it that the dudes get that smoke?
We get it for the simple shit.
Yeah.
But they get a chance to not get reprimanded at all. I mean, what job do you work at with nobody, that you can just keep messing up and you don't get reprimanded, you get a chance to keep your job?
So what does that look like? So what from your standpoint, I don't even know, let's say that was you as a dude. Let's say you were her and I watched you do that. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, God damn, that's crazy. And she was you saying what you were saying. What does her being reprimanded by the community? What I'm trying to understand
if you switch that, I don't think anybody's talking to me. I'm gonna get some motherfuckers in text messages. Nobody's gonna want to talk to me.
You
I
don't-
will probably get shunned by the whole entire community if I got caught on camera doing that.
So that would be her accountability. So if people were hitting her up saying, girl, what the fuck are you doing? You tripping, and having a meeting with her and doing all of that kind of shit. Would that be accountability? Would that be a portion of accountability as
That's
it
a
relates to
portion
that?
of it, yeah. I mean, shoot, we had the call on, what was that, 2 days ago for Julius Jones. They call, they email, right? They got in with Governor Stitt and say, look, man, this dude is innocent, you know, or he didn't commit that crime. He shouldn't get killed today. So, you know, people reached out and said, hey, man, that is not right. You're going to have to do something about this. That's what happened. But a lot of people are not getting those phone calls or those text messages saying, hey, man, that's not right. You know, you got to stop. That's not cool. So, you know, why are they not getting corrected? And if you don't get correct, look, if we didn't call Governor Stitt a couple of days ago, then Julius Jones would have been killed. It was the heat of the phone calls. People call.
But do you think that correction for her would have corrected?
Yeah, it's nobody telling her. I don't believe that most people get told that, you know, hey, that's incorrect, that's wrong.
I believe, I agree with what you're saying, bro, because that's a part of, and I'm sorry, man, to cut you off. Forgive me. I feel like that, dog. How do I say this? Women can't do wrong, bro, unless the wrong is so goddamn blatant and clear that it's almost, you got to be something real on the far end of fucked up in order to be called out. But in the normal motion of life and moving shit around, I don't feel like a woman, I don't feel like you could talk about a woman's weight. I don't feel like you can be honest about her thoughts about like domestic cooking duties, or just even having an opinion about anything that, what they wear. Everything a woman does is fine. And the minute you try to call them out for that, you being anti-woman or whatever the motherfucking case be.
There's two things. So there's having an opinion about something, but then there's also pointing out a behavior, right? And if a woman has someone in her life that would say to her, hey, that ain't cool what you did. Like, what are you doing? And I could almost say with a little bit of certainty that there's somebody in that woman's life that says, nah, that when they tell a story to, they'll be like, nah, that's not. And then she'll be like, nah, fuck it. She don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? She'll only side with people who are sort of in agreement with her and let her sort of go down this path.
In a previous relationship I was in, bro, my ex had a plan to do something. And she literally called all of her best friends and told them what the plan was. And all of her best friends agreed to go through with the plan.
That's wild.
Nobody said, that's wild as a motherfucker, and I'm not participating in that shit.
But you know why?
I'm talking about 5, 6 people participated. Nobody said that's crazy. Now, she might have had a reason in her head, but the accountability shit, bro.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, if because, you know, friends, you know, when you're close to someone, you're supposed to represent the entire marriage. So if you get married and I'm a part of your inner circle, I'm in that wedding or I'm around you, I represent your marriage. I don't represent James. I represent James and your wife, both of you all. So if somebody calls me and you're about to pull some crazy stuff, you know what I mean, or whatever, then I should be able to talk to you and your wife if I'm not close to you. I shouldn't just listen to what you're saying. I should be able to call and say, hey, you know, what's going on with you all? Or either, I mean, because you know, a lot of black folks are supposed to what? Stay out of it.
That was just what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah, but you know what? If most of your friends become your damn counselors, then why not educate yourself on how to be able to help people win in their marriage?
So, and that,
why not educate yourself, because we are people's counselors, because Some people don't want to go to counselors. So what we do, we call our best friends or maybe a brother or a sister, somebody in our community that we're going to have a conversation with. So again, if you're experiencing some issues, why wouldn't I call and talk to your wife about that and say, if we tight like that? Because then I'm gonna get a different side of the story, and then she may be to tell me something that you may be missing, and then I can say, well, hey, you know what? I was about to help James make this stupid ass move. but I talked to her, and now I know that, you know what? I got a whole different perspective of the situation. So now I need to talk to my brother James and say, you know what, hey dog, nah man, you know, you shouldn't do that. But how is it that everybody that we come up with, how do we always pick sides of people that we're related to and the people that we went to college with or that we come with? Why is it that sometimes a sister says, you know what, my brother's dumb. His ass did the wrong thing, and I'm actually siding with my sister-in-law. It's never that way. It's always, it's your mom is going with you, your dad is rolling with you, your auntie and your girls and your homeboys, they always rolling with you. Why is it everything just split down the line between blood and lifelong friends? It always split down the middle every time.
My father used to say, most people want an action, but what they need is a process. And everything that we're talking about to shift the culture, to shift the trajectory of our people is about implementing processes, man. Like, which is a combination of actions. So, and I feel like as we're talking, to get our babies on the right path, because that's what I feel like it's ultimately about, the babies, right?
Yeah.
We gotta implement new processes. We got a gang of shit that we need to do as people, men and women. And the marriage is one of those shits too, and how we see it, and how like this concept of like love and this, which is a European, renaissance, like the way we get married and the metrics that we use and all that
Romance.
shit ain't always been like that.
Right.
Back in, this is some relatively new shit.
I was in a wedding one time, man, and the pastor, we was in the wedding, groomsmen, up in Philadelphia. And the pastor, when we was up at the altar, the pastor said that everybody that's, in this wedding party is responsible for their marriage.
Yep.
I ain't never heard that before. I was like, what the hell is this, man? I mean, I wish he would have told me before, because I might not have took this tux.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that was going to put that responsibility was going to be on me. And I'd never heard, I've been in, a good amount of weddings, but that was my first time hearing that. But when he said that, it actually convicted me and moved me to action. I felt like it was my duty and allegiance. When he said that if they thought enough of you to put you in their wedding party, then you're going to have to protect their marriage, not your boy's marriage. Their marriage. And, just with that alone, that put me into a mindset to where, I actually did it. I took that to heart. And he kind of commissioned me, and put that on us. And that's what I'm saying, being able to educate people on the right thing to do, that's a part that we need to work on too. We're not educated on how to, deal with the problem when it actually happened. But hey, he told me, well, he told us that, and we moved into that fashion. They're still married. Today they got issues.
How long ago?
That was 18 years ago.
Oh wow.
And they're still married.
Yeah.
And we've had to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
they shouldn't be ashamed of that. And
I've always represented, my homeboy and my homegirl.
Yeah.
And there's been times where his ass was tripping. We was like, dude, it's your ass, man.
Yeah.
And you need somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, you're going to want to do what the hell you want to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it's going to have to be us to say, no, you shouldn't do that shit.
Yeah.
And you may still try it, but then, you may value me enough to say, well, dog, you can't come over here with that shit, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got dudes wilding out, girls wilding out. So if you want to have a little friend, homegirls, you trying to step out on your husband, you're not bringing this dude over here. Or we ain't going on vacation to Cancun and shit, and you flying this dude down.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to do that. That's the type of accountability that people need to have. And I do believe that women, those type of women, will step in line if they got people saying that is not acceptable. And no, I'm not just coming, because you can't just stop it. I told her no.
Yeah.
And then leave it at that.
Yeah.
So is dudes fucking around acceptable in the dude? And so
are dudes messing around?
Pre-marriage. So say for instance, pre-marriage, right?
Okay.
You got a homeboy. Your homeboy got a main. You know he got a main. You cool with the main. You know the main. But you also know your homeboy got a couple side things popping here and there. What would we generally do as dudes when it come to that situation? Ain't no marriage, but it's just mains. What do we do as the homeboys from an accountability standpoint, and how often are we holding brothers accountable in those spaces, in those situations?
I mean, when you got some dudes gonna say, dude, you got a good one right there. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck is you doing?
And it's a maturity thing. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure the approach is different at 20 than it was at 35. Like,
Like
when that conversation, what happened? Like, what's happening, dog? What's going on?
But then that goes back to, everything goes back to the father. And y'all gonna notice that about me, man. It's what you're taught. You know what I'm saying? So if your daddy didn't show you that, then that's, you may think that's okay. I mean, shit, a lot of people are raised by BET.
But now, now you know.
Now you know, but that's what I was going back to earlier, is that now we shouldn't be discovering shit at 37, 45. We should have got him when we was 11.
But we are though. I mean, so, and that's a part of the acceptance.
That's a problem though. That's the problem of the father being yanked out of the house, and that's why it's so essential that we make sure, come hell or high water, that these babies got their fathers in their life, so they don't have to spend 20, 30 years of I fucked up to figure it out at 42, 43, 45, 50. You got some 50-year-olds don't even know what the hell's going on.
Maybe
and you can trace it right back to, where's your daddy?
So,
I mean, both things are true, dog.
I just...
Both things are true. So, yeah, that is a fact that these are circumstances that we deal with. But at some point, you got to say, hey, man.
So if I'm 45 and my dad ain't in my life and my dad wasn't in my life, so my dad wasn't in my life, right? And I'm 45. I shouldn't have had to deal with it, but I did. Now what do I do?
Exactly.
I know that to be a fact. Let me rephrase that. I don't believe that. Let me take that back. I just said something that ain't true. I'm good. I can't map out any other trajectory on what my life would have been if anything was saved. And I also would be, if anything has changed. And I also would be challenging the wisdom of the universe. That doesn't mean that I don't work to improve things better moving forward. But I spent too much time trying to say that I wasn't shit and my life wasn't right and I fucked up and I wasn't good enough and I was far behind for me to keep that going. So I think both of those things can exist at the same time. I think I just wanted to make sure that I was clear about what I'm saying. So my dad wasn't in my life. I got the mom that I got. I spent 30 years, 40 years of my life defaulting to that and using that for whatever reason as a crutch to not get past that, to do that other shit that I know that I needed to do. Mm-hmm. And the minute I took responsibility and said that I'm changing this, I changed it. And so I don't know how we got somebody right now looking at this whose dad wasn't in their life, who got 5 side chicks and a main girl who been standing by his side. And he getting ready to go smash one of them side chicks and get one of them pregnant. And this good woman that he got is gonna leave his goofy ass because of that, right? I wanna tell that brother he can figure that shit out. The fact you didn't have the same mom, the right dad, or the fact that the stars weren't aligned perfectly
But how
for you
old
to
is
be
he? How old is
35.
35.
35 years old.
And let me take that number from you and say that we got a young man that's my son's age, and all three of us take my son at 9 years old and teaching the things that we now know. Do you think it should take him 30 years to figure out?
I can't say, bro.
But do you think that with the access to knowledge that we have now, and we gave that to a 9-year-old, do you think it would take him to getting to our age to figure it out?
Some people's path
life
is to
had
do
it.
that.
Life had his dad, bro.
It's some people's path
Yeah.
to get to there. And some people have to go through those lumps and bumps and bruises and knots to get to where they need to get to.
I mean, it's not an absolute, but I'm just saying, do you think it's more likely that, with the person having access to information opposed to the person who doesn't have those things in place? What is the percentage of the person?
I think
prevailing?
everybody should have their parents in their life, bro.
Right.
100%.
Right.
100%. But it's
not the card
sometimes it ain't the cards. It wasn't my cards.
Mm-hmm.
And even if sometimes when you got the motherfucker in their life, bro, they wild. And so you know what I'm saying?
You're
And
right.
then you still
You're right.
wake up and be ill like me. So and be a contributor, be a supporter, be a lover, be a human being that just shows up and be, I never would have imagined that I would be who I am today. But now in hindsight, what I can tell somebody else, and let me take a step back, bro. I get that you focused on your son. That should be 100% your focus. And you doing everything you can to align, and you working to make sure men can be in other kids, men can be in their parents' lives. So I appreciate you speaking to those men. I sometimes speak more to the 25-year-old or the 30-year-old, because those were my toughest times that I can remember.
Yeah.
And I just so happened to not have no kids, right? I got lucky through the process. So thinking about that 25 or that 30-year-old who got a 2-year-old, or who on the right track and who making a bunch of excuses because his dad wasn't in his life, or because, he didn't have a mom that he wanted to have, or whatever the case may be, that excuse, at some point in time, you got to choose something different, brother. Yeah. And the minute you decide to choose it, it's there. And so I think because that 9-year-old needs you, but that 25-year-old and that 30-year-old, all men need one another.
Absolutely,
man.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I just think we use different language sometimes to connect.
Yeah, we need that's important, and that's real. You know what I'm saying? Because that's you talking about 20s and 30 somethings is you still figuring stuff out. Yeah. You're still figuring a lot out. You know what I'm saying?
40.
So and they don't say that sometimes. They expect, sometimes, and that's most black people go to church. So I'm gonna speak about the church. And you have this perception that, a 65-year-old got it together. My life is good, instead of him, that 65-year-old pulling us to the side, but dude, we got some of the same damn problems that you got when you're 40 years old, but we don't think that, or 35.
Yeah.
No. And so you're like, man, I want to be like those guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? But those guys are not telling you the damn truth about, they got some fuck shit going on in their marriage right now. Yeah. Even though they've been married for 45 years, because you assume, because I've been married to her for 40 years, we got it right now. Yeah.
Well, that's, as we...
Transparency, people not telling the truth, man.
Yeah. As we kind of try to wrap this up, a lot of times, man, church, and there's a lot of, church is supposed to be for people. Church people want to act like church people, like they got it all together. That's part of the stigma of why churches are how they are, right? And not understanding that, that part of the reason why you're here is because you're struggling. Part of the reason why it's a hospital for you to get better. It's not for perfect people to come and be perfect and tell other people that they're not perfect, right? And that's part of the broader conversation about a lot of our society, is that there's a perception that is good. Like social media, everybody's perfect. And churches, everybody's perfect. But church, man, is where people come, and when they're struggling, is to identify with the 65-year-old dude so he can say, hey man, I done been there. Come here, let me coach you. Let me tell you where I was, what happened to me, and let's talk about it. Right? But that's not, because they don't want to say that they were out here wilding. You know what I'm saying? That'll make them look not like a deacon. That makes them look like.
Tell the truth. Hey, man, life speaking.
You know what I'm saying?
Right now, man. Go ahead.
But it's tough because, and even they look down on the women, older women look down on younger women that are perceived as whatever, because they want to be seen as something that they're not, man, because it's part of church. That's the problem with church.
And what I think makes it clean, and thank you for bringing that around.
I'm going to clip that. Can I play that on the air?
That's it.
Patent pending, number one, Ricky Bobby.
The honesty piece, man, and the transparency. And that's really what this, and love, bro.
Yeah.
Everything we do is with love.
Yeah.
That is the message. So we'll use different terminology. We'll use different paths. We'll use different analogies. But it's love. And our focus is on our community and our babies.
Yep.
If somebody has listened to anything that we've talked about and felt like we weren't too inclusive or whatever the case may be, that's something you gotta deal with. We're clear on what our objective is.
Yeah.
And that is to create a space so that we as men can talk and share. Don't necessarily mean agree all the goddamn time.
Right.
To share.
Yeah.
And to not be judged.
Yeah.
And to be listened to and to be supported. And sometimes that's gonna look wild because the truth is wild.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we don't feel like these women are being held accountable. And there's not much we can do about that as men. But what we can do is hold ourselves and each other and in these spaces accountable. And that means action. That means thinking about shit different, doing shit different. Some shit that we ain't never done before.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like for the individual, but it's a part of the accountability.
Yeah.
It's a part of the ownership.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can recognize the obstacle, right? And all its forms and all of its forms and shapes and sizes and strengths and all of that. But you can also recognize that it's just an obstacle. That's something that we all, in deciding that we're going to move different, is that we have to navigate this obstacle to get to what we just talked about, to get to these babies, to get to this community, to get to being translated, to get to being a better us, that we have to mitigate these obstacles. But it's nothing, no matter how big it is, man, it's, dog, we get there. You get there every day, bro. You raising a boy, you raising your sons every single day in spite of all of the other shit, right? And we all need to get in that space, at least understanding that.
It was the, I gotta say, I mean, because I don't want to take all credit for it, man, but it was people in the court, talking about my older son, that realized that she, was playing games.
Yeah.
I mean, this not happened to, this is not the first time this happened to me before.
Yeah.
But it was the judge that actually saw that I was trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other people showing up and saying, hey man, we see that this is happening.
Right.
And we're not gonna ignore it and act like it's not happening. We see that she's actually doing this.
Right.
And that's all we want. Acknowledge that this is happening.
Right.
Don't make me think that I'm crazy or it's my fault and let me go back and say that I gotta fix and work on myself.
Right.
Maybe I have been working on myself.
Right.
And maybe it's time for somebody else to step up and stand in the gap and help me so I can help this child,
Right.
whether that's a daughter or a son. And
Right.
that's what needs to happen for the community. You don't look at it as that, okay, so if I help the father, I'm not helping the mother, so that's wrong. No.
That's crazy.
But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
If I help the father,
Yeah.
then that means that I'm not helping the mother. That's how it's looked at.
Right.
But the father hasn't had no help. He's all the way down here and the mom is up here, so he gets no help at all.
Right.
So the thing is that you gotta look at it, if I help the father, it's gonna help the child.
And it's going to help the mother.
Yeah, so they actually win if this person gets this help. So
Right.
people now have to step up and do something. I mean, that's the first thing is just step in and step up and do something.
Yeah.
Be present.
Right.
You know, show up.
Try.
And let this man know that he has, you know, some assistance, that he has a force of things that's trying to pull him out of the picture.
Yeah.
Or stand with him.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's going to court.
Yeah.
Whether that's making a phone call for him, whether that's going to the kids' event. You know, the kids need to see that, hey, I got a community that's supporting me through this. It's not just daddy right here.
Yeah.
I got a legion of people that loves me and want to see me do good. And when people start stepping up like that, and those type of moms see that, and the judges in the courts and the officers and the sheriff see that, then they start to change their ways. But if all of these men are being told to do things on their own, they're lone rangers, then they're going to get hammered.
Well, I know a lot of dudes going through what you're going through, bro. And you is the only one who has agreed to speak with the level of transparency that you have, dude. And I wanted to say thank you.
Yes, sir.
It is not an easy thing.
Absolutely not.
And you are taking responsibility, bro. And you are putting yourself out there. And as a man, knowing what men go through and the fact that you're doing that, man, I salute you. And I appreciate you and thank you.
Yes, sir.
And you might not see all of the ways in which you're touching and impacting and being an example, but you are. And that is the accountability piece.
Yep.
And just by you doing that, you're shining a light on a lot of things, man, that you're aware of. And I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
We know you got the GoFundMe piece popping. I'm going to make sure that we post that in here as well and connect to some other things, man. But I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that you wanted to say or share about anything before we wrap it up?
I'm just, I appreciate y'all having me here, man. You know, like I started out before, man, this show is epic. You know, it's amazing, man. And you know, thank you for, you know, thinking enough of me, both of you all, to you know, have me, you know, come down here and talk about, you know, this story, man. You know, so the only thing I say, man, like I said before, well-defined problem is half solved, man. And many hands make light work, and idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming out, man, and we see you, bro. We recognize all that you're doing, and it might not be clear to you now, but what you're doing is not only helping your son and yourself, it's also, even though it's hard to see, a lot of times helping that mother too. And it's all, I mean, you know, we pulling and praying for you, bro.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, man.
Appreciate you, Larry.
Yep, appreciate you.
Out of here.
All right, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Peace.